welcome to week 4. Can you believe we're already here? It's kind of crazy how big our shawl is getting. I am loving all your pictures. Thank you so much for posting in the Marley's Minions Facebook group. I just love them. So this week, play 4. We have some unusual stitches, and it's across the board. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, if it's Netflix and chill all the way to Tunisian, we got some unusual lace stitches. If you've taken one of my unusual lace stitches classes, you might recognize a few of these techniques. But more than likely, you'll notice that I love going in interesting and odd directions because there's so many places that we can go in crochet and in Tunisian crochet. So I really hope you go check out all of the different versions because they're all really interesting and cool. And I am just so excited to get crocheting. I hope you are too. This week is going to be a lot of fun. So with that, make sure you have your hook. Make sure you have your yarn, your pattern nearby, and come join me. We're going to go get started at the table, and I can't wait to see you there. All right, see you in a second. Play 4, Tunisian. Welcome. Here we are in play 4, and we are doing, all I can say is a very typical way of doing lace if you were doing regular crochet, but in Tunisian, it's a little unusual. If I can pull it apart a little bit for you. Basically what we're doing is we're going to be making shells. So you have like a double crochet, a yarn over, double crochet, yarn over, double crochet. That makes a shell into one stitch. When you see it in a field, it just looks like this really cool undulating pattern. Now I have it unblocked here in our video just so you can see how it opens up. What you get is from all of the stitches being in one stitch, you get these little holes in your work, which makes the lace. And then you'll have a hole, as we have here, and then a solid part, or solid part, and another hole. And it looks really, really interesting. The fabric that you'll be making is just really unusual and different. It doesn't quite look like knitting, doesn't quite look like crochet. It looks like something all on its own, which I just adore. Just like last week. So this was play 3. We're working off of it and going up. But as you can see, the actual shawl is gigantic. So I'm going to move this out of the way so that we have some room to work. And you won't be surprised. I want us to jump right into the stitch diagram. If we look at the stitches over here, nothing over here really jumps out other than one stitch, which is a double crochet. So it's pretty much the same as doing a double crochet in regular crochet, except that you don't, normally you would yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This time we just yarn over, pull through 2, and then, so we have that last loop on our hook, and you'll see what I mean by that. We have a knit stitch going on, which gives us our look throughout, which is kind of nice and fun. Otherwise, everything else we've seen, we have yarn overs going on. Nothing too exciting other than you're going to yarn over. The excitement is all in this chart, and the way we need to kind of pull it apart is if we look on the inside, we have double crochet, yarn over, double crochet, yarn over, double crochet, all going into one stitch. So all of this goes into one stitch. Then we skip 2 stitches. See, right here and right here, or right here and right here. There's no stitches in them. And then we do a knit stitch in the next stitch. So this repeat of a shell, skip 2 stitches, knit stitch, is the repeat no matter what row you're on. Except, unfortunately, because of the pattern, you'll notice, for instance, let's look at the beginning. Row 1 starts with 3 extended stitches. You'll remember extended stitches from play 1. But then if you look at row 2, it starts with 2 extended stitches before you do your first shell. Play 3. Row 3 starts with 1 before you do your first shell, and row 4 starts with 1 but only has half of a shell going on. So every row in your lace starts and ends differently. So you will really need to pay attention to the beginning and the ending of every row when you're doing your forward pass. So in this one, your forward pass you need to pay attention to and see how you're ending. For instance, for our row 1, we end up with a shell and then 2 extended stitches. Row 2, we end up with our shell, 3 extended stitches. With 3, we actually end with a knit stitch and then 3 stitches. That's in our forward pass. In our reverse pass, they're all the same. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3 loops so that we can decrease, and then pull through 2, pull through 2. If you look, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. It's the whole way back. So you know what that means. That means you're doing all of the business in the forward pass. Picking up the loops, dealing with all of them. You're going to count your loops on your hook to make sure you got the right amount of loops on your hook. Then, after you pull through the 3, it's just relax and pull those off. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Nice. So the way I like to look at it is I have 4 rows and I need to really pay attention to, but then I get a break. When I do my return, I'm going to take a break and get to relax on the way back. All right. We're going to do 2 rows together because I think you're going to get the idea really quickly to see how this works. And you're going to be able to just run with it. So I'll start with row 1, and we can take a look at all of the interesting stitches we have going on. So on our little video swatch, I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling. This is where we had our swatch from play 3. So I'm going to move up onto play 4. All right. The very first thing it has in your row 1 is to do an extended stitch. So if you remember, all that means is before you get started, chain 1. You just made your extended one. All right, so we have 2 Tunisian simple stitch that are extended. So we don't need to go in the first one because that's the one on our hook in this pattern. We'll go into the next one as you're doing a Tunisian simple stitch, then chain 1, do Tunisian simple stitch in the next one, chain 1. That becomes our extended. And all of that kind of gives you an idea is that we're going to be tall. We have to get tall. We're going to be taller in these stitches. All right, in the next stitch, we're going to do our shell. To do it, you're going to do double crochet to start with. So you're going to do yarn over. We're going to use these as we're doing knitwise. So let me just pull this off for a second. You remember that every stitch has 2 vertical strands, one in the front and one in the back. When we go in the front, we're doing a simple stitch. When we go in the back from the back, we're doing a reverse stitch. When you want to do a knit stitch, you're going through both of them. So that's how we're going to be picking up stitches in this stitch pattern. We're going through those 2 loops. All right, so the next one is going to get a shell. So we're going to be putting our shell knitwise, so through the 2 loops. The first stitch I need to do is a double crochet, a yarn over, insert my hook knitwise, pull up a loop from behind, then I yarn over, pull through 2. That little guy, it's like the start of a cluster or start of a double crochet 2 together. That's your double crochet. That's it. You don't yarn over and pull through again. That's it. Now, the next thing it tells me to do is do a yarn over. Okay. My next stitch is a double crochet, so I yarn over again. Insert my hook into the stitch knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. What you want to make sure that happens there is when you're doing it, you want to make sure that this yarn over is not going away. Okay, because it's really easy to yarn over, pull through 2 again, because this doesn't look like much. So when you're doing your shell, make sure you have a double crochet, then a yarn over, and then a double crochet. It's easy to miss these stitches. Now, a different way of looking at it, because when I was saying I did a yarn over, then I'm doing my double crochet. That's a stitch. I'm going to yarn over again and insert my hook. A different way you can look at it is yarn over twice before you insert your hook. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I like to be a little bit deliberate and do the yarn over, then the double crochet, because I tend to find that I'll add an extra stitch to the beginning one. That was your shell. That was a lot in this one little guy, but that's okay. Now we're going to just do a knit stitch. I'm going to skip this one, go into this one, and pull up a loop. Knitwise. And you know you're doing knitwise is when you pull up your loop, you can see both strands. They're both staring at you. So like these that I skipped, you can't see, but this one you can. All right, next shell, skip 2 stitches. So I'm going to do a double crochet, a yarn over, insert my hook knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I do a yarn over, that's my increase. I'm going to yarn over again to start my next double crochet. Pull through 2. So yarn over. Now I'm going to do a yarn over for my double crochet, yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Pull it apart, you have your double crochet, yarn over, double crochet, yarn over, double crochet. Skips 2 stitches. Do a knit stitch in the next stitch. Now do another shell. So I yarn over, insert my hook knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over. Now yarn over for my double crochet, insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, yarn over again, insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I have my shell done. You can also double check when you have your shell done that this was 5 stitches. It'll help. Skip 2. Knit stitch in the next one. All right, we're getting close to the end. Let's do another shell. Yarn over, insert my hook knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Another way you can look at these is you can yarn over twice, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over twice, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So again, you pull them all apart and you go, yep, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get to the end, you have 4 stitches left. So skip the next 2. In this one, we're just going to do a Tunisian simple stitch and then chain 1. Then, of course, the last one here, this was our decrease from doing our reverse stitches from the last play. You're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, chain 1. So you end up with 2 chains there. This is where you can go ahead and double check yourself. Count all of the loops on your hook. Make sure you have them all. Then we go and pull them off. So pulling them off is just yarn over, pull through 3. That will do our decrease for our bias. Then yarn over, pull through 2, the whole way back. Nice and easy. I like that we can relax on this one. There's not a lot of thinking going on here. Not that in play 3 we had to think a lot because it was just pull through 2, then chain 1, but still. I will say though sometimes because this is so easy, just be careful with these like yarn overs. Make sure you're treating them as a stitch and not pulling through them by accident. It's real easy to pull through a lot. All right. Now, when you're done, what you'll get is basically this little wave. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. You have a little wave because you've made a shell that goes up high and you have a stitch that goes low. But because this stitch is a knit stitch and it pulls, it's not really pronounced. These are, not super pronounced wave, but you got a little wave. And that's the pattern. let's do one more row together so you can see kind of what you're looking at when you do it. Remember, each one of these lines is your stitch. When it comes to your yarn overs, these little hash marks, those are your lines. But as you'll see, you don't have to go into those. We're just skipping those in our case. All right. First thing we need to do is an extended stitch, so that just means do a chain. Then into our next stitch, we do a Tunisian simple stitch and a chain. Now we're going to start our shell in the next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You can yarn over twice, insert your hook knitwise, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I still have my yarn over sitting in between those 2, yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And my shell's made. Now what you do is you skip 2 stitches. So in our case, this is 1, 2. Then you're going to knitwise into the next stitch. Another way of looking at it is, if this is our shell from below, in the top of your shells, you're going to put a knit stitch. In your knit stitch from before, you're going to put a shell. It's another way of looking at it. But what you're doing is how it's written in the pattern is you skip 1, 2 stitches, because don't forget that this little hash mark, that is a stitch. So into the top, we're going to do a knit stitch. Then we'll do a shell in our next knit stitch, or essentially skip 1, 2 stitches. Pull them apart, make sure you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we skip over here, you skip 1, 2 stitches in the top of your shell. You do a knit stitch. Now we're going to do a shell. So I did our double crochet, our next double crochet, which still has my yarn over in between. All right, we're back to the top, and we'll do a knit stitch here. And when I'm going through, remember, these top 2 loops are this chain up above. I'm going around it when I'm inserting my hook to pull up a loop. Now we'll do our shell in the next one. So again, yarn over, then yarn over again for your next double crochet. Yarn over again for your next double crochet. Pull those apart, make sure, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we get to the end here, we're getting closer to the end. What we're going to do is we're going to do a knit stitch in the top of the last shell. Now we're actually going to go into these stitches for a minute. I'm going to go into this stitch, which was made from my yarn over, where our typical stitches here, they're nice and tall, right? They stand up really well. They're easy to see. In this case, in the last one, I don't want you to. See, it's like jumping ahead. I'm checking out the wrong thing here. So in this last one, I actually want you to do a Tunisian simple stitch, an extended simple stitch in the last 3. So don't end with, I want you to be a little taller essentially. So don't end with a knit stitch. I want you to end with a Tunisian simple stitch, chain 1. Then in the next one, which is this one, Tunisian simple stitch, chain 1. Go into the last one, Tunisian simple stitch, chain 1. So it's easy to get into the rhythm. So with the only thing that's going on here is to really pay attention to the beginning and the end and exactly where to end. Because every row, they don't repeat. So your brain doesn't get that little bit of a easy way to get into a rhythm. It's easy to get a rhythm in between the row, definitely. But right at the end here, we have to have your chart printed out or have, your words real close to you. This part, though, is easy. Now we yarn over, pull through 3, pull through 2. The whole way back is pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2 the whole way back. So this is really nice for us that it's a nice little relaxing way back. It's nice to just not even have to think and just go on autopilot working. All right, I'm going to chain 1 just so it doesn't go away on us, and then I'll lay it down. All right, so with row 2 done, you can see it kind of evened out that wave because essentially these shells are nesting in the other shells. It was what's happening. But if I lift it up for you, you can see you have your shell and then your knit stitch and a shell and the knit stitch. Basically, this pattern is 4 rows of this lace, and then you're going to do another solid divider, and you'll continue that for 3 of them. And that's it. It is unusual in the way that it's made. It's not, that unusual. It's definitely in a bunch of the encyclopedias that I've made. But it's fun. More than anything, it's fun. It kind of uses what we do a whole bunch in regular crochet and making it for Tunisian, and it gives just this completely unique pattern to your fabric, which is kind of interesting. All right, that's it. I'm gonna let you go crochet, have a good time. So what'd you think? Hopefully you're going to have a great time this week. Well, let's put it this way. I know you're going to have a great time with this week. There are just a few little things to keep in mind. As always, something new to learn. But when you're done, this time you need to fasten off. So we will stop continuing on our little, play 2, 3, and 4 have all been kind of growing. Now you're going to fasten off and, without giving too much away, go in a different direction for play 5. So have a wonderful week. I cannot wait to see you for play 5, our last play, Kind of Crazy. All right, enjoy, have a wonderful time, and I'll see you soon.